Just a long lost look in your eyes brings out a love that I can't disguise. So take me down to the places I've never seen. Oh, don't you try to kill me with kind. It's just your love that's driving me wild.
We're back here on the LCK, and this is really a game where the ROX Tigers look to make a statement, and a statement they did make here. Taking out Mata on his birthday first, and then the rest of KT Rolster afterwards.
And that was, of course, with a thrift shop pirated teleport coming through. That really started the stuff for ROX Tigers, but the snowball was confirmed after a bad invade on the top side when they were not strong. And then a couple of other undisciplined mistakes like pawn overstaying. And the gold lead started to just ratchet up to the point where these paddle stars were deleting, where ROX Tigers were able to fight front to back against a comp that in Champ Select we expected to really take over in the 5v5 phase. There never was any level of competition as this game went on, as unfortunately KT Rolster, one kill onto Tom Kench's side, just could not get over the line. It started off well in this fight, but this is the one that actually ended up cementing the loss for KT.
Yeah, it was looking good here. Both the carries on the left side for ROX, but then Key teleports in with his unsealed spellbook, and he's a huge frontline tank for the two carries of all these low members of KT. Try to get in range, but they can't. Sangyoon having a field day with the help, and Key last second devour lava on about 5 health there.
And then Sangyoon went full ruler from World Finals, got the court onto Deft, who had 3 items, was finally getting there in terms of team fight impact. See the numbers here, so much damage in the laning phase for the Caitlyn, but by the end, the Zoe on patch 8.3 was doing unspeakable things. The Drakes stacked up. Well-deserved victory for ROX Tigers, in control you'd have to say, from basically minute 1.
Was a fun game to cast too, you know? I mean, KT, the favorites coming in, but the ROX Tigers looking better and better every single time we see them. And for them to have such a dominant performance against one of the top teams is exciting. You know, it means that there's more competitiveness here in the LCK, and I always like that. So let's take a look at the MVP. It's gonna be Lava on the Zoe.
See the balance level there from the Zoe taunt. It's the balance level of 0. It's undefined because Zoe on this patch is oh so strong. 100% kill participation, and picking up the teleport early was so central into this game. Got the teleport off after the top lane teleport was interrupted by Lindarang on the Kennen. The on-hit Kennen does win its first game of the season. So I imagine we will see more of it as this week goes on. Well-deserved MVP for Lava.
Yeah, it just says, if Lava plays Zoe, this is what happens. And, well, we've seen that time and time and again from this player. So, 400 MVP points. I wonder how many of those points are, from, I forget what I was saying. What is that?
Can you translate this meme for us, please?
All it said was fighting. Lava fighting with
I don't know about the slug they're showing.
I don't
larva,
really know.
yes, maybe. It reminded me of the Slurm Factory Slurm from Futurama, so I don't remember his name, but that's what I was seeing there. Smeb's going to hope that he gets the counter pick this time after the Kennen made him accountable, and they need to be a bit smarter about their decisions in the enemy jungle, because that certainly didn't help KT.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to jump into pick and pans for game number 2. We'll see how this one plays out. off we do go. This time ROX on the blue side. Gonna ban out Xayah first.
KT have shown in the first round on red side, they will almost always take their complete bot lane duo. They've taken Xayah Rakan, they've taken Varus Braum. They very much like to pick up the strongest possible 2v2 in the first round. So we'll see if KT stick with that plan. ROX Tigers trying to answer most of the red side pickups here. So far, Xayah and Galio banned. Probably gonna have quite a lot of bot lane focus, I would expect, in the draft phase here. I wonder if the Caitlyn will eat another ban. We'll wait and see.
Gonna ban out GP here. I was trying to read the signs, but I don't actually
They're very
understand
busy.
what they say. Yeah, lots of different letters all over them.
All right, ROX Tigers, what do you want to first pick? Zoe is available. Bot laners are available. Zoe, the expected final ban for KT, because they didn't really seem to have a plan to actually halt the advance of the Zoe. Waiting here for KT Rolster. They do go down that particular path. A lot of other power picks will be available. Sejuani, a very
Smeb.
common first pick.
Cheering for Smeb here in the audience. Although she tried to hide it, I saw it, Papa.
I'm cheering for a Zoe ban, but we won't get one. Skarner will be banned. So it could have been Sejuani versus Skarner with a Zoe ban. See if ROX Tigers elevate the Zoe to first pick after Lava was able to have a strong performance on. We know that Lava plays other power picks, so not necessarily going to be huge cost to him. They don't go that way. And it seems like they will reach for the Sejuani with Skarner banned away.
ROX's key to victory is key. Not the...
It's a bit on the nose there.
Yeah, I know. Didn't take him a long time to think about that one. Sejuani, yep, gonna be picked up here.
So how will KT approach this? Varus Braum is the sort of lane you could see them locking in. But if they don't want to complete a full bot lane, they could take Ezreal and try to find power elsewhere. They do go for Varus Braum, they'll give up the Zoe most likely to the side of ROX Tigers. So if they want to take Zoe here, taking Ezreal and then Zoe would probably be the way. But it's hard to read
like
here.
that.
Some players feel very comfortable into certain picks, and Pawn has played against a lot of Zoe this season. So usually with Ezreal, you don't expect a complete bot lane to be picked up in the first round. And they will, once again, leave themselves a lot of rope to potentially hang themselves, like you could say they did in game one, as Jarvan will be taken just as an answer in the jungle.
Lava definitely eyeing that Zoe right now. We'll see what he wants to do. There are definitely some picks. I think that's an alpaca on the right side. I'm not going to say that it is.
It looks like a ghostly alpaca.
Yeah, you can see its little foot there below its head.
Where's he putting the foot, though, Valdez?
I don't really know. I think he's waving. But Tristana going to be picked up here for Sangyoon.
It is locked in, so it's actually not a common pick in the LCK, even though we saw it in our first series, and Sangyoon hasn't prioritized it. And I hear your little gasp, your favorite champion at the moment, the Taliyah, will be locked in. So a turret-destroying game seems to be the plan for ROX. Weaver's Wall behind, the Satchel Charge on top, and trying to take down the turrets with the Tristana. Pretty standard team comp, and Horn says, well, I just want to play the Azir again, so we will see Zoe fall through picks and bans this game.
Definitely not something you see happen every game. We've had it a couple of times today. And, well, we'll see what he gets in tandem with that Taliyah as well. He's already got a bit of CC on the side of the Sejuani.
I expect a Braum ban on the blue side here, just because Braum can short the wall coming through from the Weaver's Wall. So just banning that away, kind of the same as the Ornn interaction when it comes to slowing the advance of ROX Tigers. I expect them to be very decisive, whatever they lock in as the next two picks. KT probably want a last pick for Smeb after the cannon was able to answer a lot of the Gnar's power in the previous draft, and Lindarang is a big Gnar player himself. So interested to see what we make of the rest of the draft. For now, just chain support bans. Alistar still available as one of the power supports.
Yeah, we've still got that Sion left available. You were talking about Alistar, that is going to be banned out. KT on the first pick here. I highly doubt a Mata birthday surprise and the support Xerath.
Korean Castle got epically baited.
Yeah.
Like, oh, by the Xerath. What? I really don't think Xerath's support is going to come out in this game. But the Shen support certainly could. Laning phase gets a lot safer when you have basically every other meta 2v2 support banned away.
Yeah. You don't really see top Shen anymore, even though Smeb was really good at that champion.
And if they're going to play this turret destruction game, why not a Thresh to try to zone control and also double down on the laning phase? It's a very likely lock-in. But they'll leave themselves a little bit more options. And yeah, if you're going to blind pick top lane, why not the Sion? So Thresh, I think, will be locked in here because it makes too much sense with the game they want to play. Basically 4-1, where you know that if you send no resources the way of the Sion, he'll still be able to live and farm through the lane, and the 4 members can threaten turrets. So very strong sieging comp. That's what ROX Tigers are approaching this game. KT Rolster, once again, have team fight. They have a bit of playmaking with the Shen. Outside chance of Shen top. We haven't seen it commonly this season, but Smeb, one of our best Shen players, looking at the top side. Considering their tank options, they will lock in the Cho'Gath. Not going to be a lot of kill pressure onto the Sion. Silence can be very valuable against both the Taliyah and the Tristana. But actually being able to navigate Cho'Gath into a fight is going to be a struggle. Even with a flank ward, Cho'Gath tends to be very feast or famine. I know that's a bit on the nose, but the Cho'Gath impact in a team fight definitely wavers depending on the results of the rest of the map. Taliyah has first roam. The Shen support's not going to have a lot of lane presence. See if KT can really adjust their game plan, because if you make mistakes with a draft like this, it probably goes the same way as game 1.
For sure, and regardless of if the ROX Tigers or even KT did watch that first series, we saw the power of Taliyah Sion, and that was in conjunction with Kalista Alistar with the Fate's Call and all that other good CC, but we also had Alistar in that game. Now we got a Sejuani. Definitely some possibilities to make a similar type of team fight action work out for this composition of the ROX Tigers.
It's certainly a composition that can team fight, but I think structured destruction is what they're most focused on.
That sounds fun to say.
It does. I'll say it one more time. Structured destruction. Sounds like one that we can keep for the future. Lindarang on the Sion. Going to be a frustrating lane for the Cho'Gath to actually find the kill pressure. Front-to-back team fighting with Tristana could still happen, as the front line for the side of KT certainly is beefy. Question is, can they avoid the mistakes that slow down the advance to late game? Deft is on Ultra Comfort this time. Will not have lane control we expect with the Shen, but it is his famous Ezreal. His accuracy, second to none.
Definitely one of the scariest Ezreals in Korea, so let's see if he can pull it off with the rest of his team. KT up against the ROX Tigers. Here we go, match 52, game number 2. And not the first time Key has played Thresh. He's going to be picking up Ignite this time around for the entirety of this game.
And I'm almost surprised to see a stopwatch in his inventory. A few stopwatches in the meta, and right now you do see both supports going into that. Mata does have the utility tree second then, or the inspiration, I should say. Aftershock on the Shen. Does mean more resists early, but not the burst Shen, where back before the Aftershock changes made it much more defensive rather than offensive. You could level to all in and kind of one rotation someone as Ignite Shen.
Yeah. Stopwatches on a couple of supports that get in there and force your enemy to attack you. Just get in their face and then let your team clean up as you go golden.
Mata did skill taunt level 1 to try to help with the start onto the blue buff. So blue buff starts for both junglers. Does mean they're unlikely to end up in the same position on the map, as you'll naturally clear your jungle top side as the Jarvan, and Sejuani expected to go with bot side. Seems like a full clear route for SeongHwan, but who knows, could always be surprised. And Glacial Augment this game for Lindarang. Comet's going to do nothing against a Cho'Gath who just autos a couple of minions, gets health back, so going for the full control build. That means that if it follows the cadence of this week, when it is Glacial Augment, we almost always see a Decimating Smash a max, which, to be fair, Smeb does have multiple ways to interrupt.
That he does. We're seeing Lindarang even being pushed in early on, as you do against Cho'Gath. Well, he's started with the Q, Papa.
Yes, indeed. Always risky to smash the minions that come to the turret, because you might just mess up last hitting on all of them. Just a little bit of a CS lead, and Cho'Gath in the early levels will be able to push. Deep ward put down, but pinged out by Sion around the blue side. Lets the team of KT know that the Sejuani will be bot side of the map. And this is what happens when you go for the Shen support. He really only has a one-round all-in, so lane presence very, very low on the Shen. All about babying the Shen to level 6 and the playmaking in other lanes, usually the way you go. Second game of the season for Lava on the Taliyah. Definitely fits his champion pool with the sort of stuff we've seen from him, and his Zoe was roaming very well in game number 1. There's the hook.
Yeah, nice little hook. He is going to taunt away, but eat a little bit of damage in the on his way out. Does have 3 potions, should be just fine. Lava's been having a little bit of trouble here in the mid lane, just in a bit of a CS deficit, and also eating all of that early harassment from the Azir. And
that's even with investing 3 of the minion dematerializers into trying to control the wave. Good laning phase so far for Pawn. Pawn's first loss on the Azir was actually in game 1. It was 4-0 previous to the game 1 loss. He's been very comfortable on that. I haven't been impressed with his laning phase. Specifically in the SKT series, he had a lot of mistakes, and we've seen him miss the scoop on the Emperor's Divide a couple of times, making Shurima shuffle plays, so still has left a bit to be desired, but he's also had some very impressive late-game Azir plays where he's made it work.
See if he can step it up here in this game. Looked all right in game number 1. No huge mistakes that I noticed.
Just focus on the farming. ROX Tigers will get the push. A bit like how we were talking about the turret HP lead for the Caitlyn, how much damage she could do to the enemy turret in the early game while pushing. Kind of the same story with the Tristana this game. But we'll always be afraid of the zoning impact of the Shen taunt if it's not on cooldown.
Sion did actually max his E first this time around, so mixing it up a little bit is Lindarang. Not sure if he didn't get the message or the memo, or if he's just doing his own thing.
We saw 2 different top laners go for Q-Max with Glacial Augment, Khan being the first, so that would be a bit of a change, but we're still kind of learning Sion tech. He's only really become a must-consider champion in the last week or so, as we've hit patch 8.3. Not through Sion changes, but with Ornn Nurse and other things being toned down.
Score just, you know, strolling over an enemy control ward. Missed that one. Not really aware of it. Is seen the whole way, and Lava should be aware that he is nearby, especially after clearing out that ward in the river.
Trying this bot side roam for the Taliyah. Always something we're going to talk about when it's a mid lane champion with a global. So the 2v2 around the bot side, especially with ROX Tigers also having a winning bot lane that can shove very hard. We said the game plan this game for ROX was to weave his wall behind and try to take objectives with the Tristana satchel charge. So it's going to be very much, I imagine, a tussle to go pretty 50-50 between KT and ROX Tigers at controlling that bot side vision to ensure that Taliyah can't just go for a free roam bot side without early information for the side of KT.
Taliyah has gone back twice already. Picking up a second Doran's ring, which you don't see all too often, but wanted a little bit more lane presence against Pawn.
Can't always get that first buy lost chapter that every mid laner feels like craves on patch 8.3. Could be even harder on patch 8.4 with lost chapter going up to 1100, but there'll be more tier mid laners. Feels like there'll be a bit more variety. Even Catalyst is going to be the same gold as a lost chapter. That's really weird to think about, but just the sign of the times.
It's definitely a lot harder to go back and get that lost chapter. I generally find myself getting boots and a tome. It's kind of awkward. Got a nice little trade here in the mid lane. Lava getting that seismic shove.
Almost feels like every laner is looking for over 1,000 gold. So maybe Victor gets away with waiting in lane if everyone's kind of priced in for a very extended laning phase. Unlikely, but Victor mains can dream. Only had that single Victor game was Edge playing it for Konglu Monster, and it was a loss. But I'm sure we'll see more as the season goes on. Still no Kura or Crown victor. One day.
Well, we've kind of taken a back seat, especially after game number 1. Seems like the tension is high between these two teams after that crazy game number 1.
See an invade here from ROX Tigers. The scene of the crime where Scorer made a big misread on map pressure in a similar situation when KT was on the blue side in game 1, but this time they don't have a counter match up top side to really change things, so ends up being much more comfortable for ROX on their invade. Bot lane first shot was the tier as mid lane.
Oh, he's going to get hit here. Still has his flash, but is it enough? He's going to scoop up SeongHwan and try to turn it around. The flash coming in from Score now, but he is going to Cataclysm on in, and SeongHwan, he is going to flash last second, but he will go down first blood. But they're looking to turn this one around now onto Score, who's getting low, but the earlier rotation from the double bottom lane comes in and saves his life.
So much happening in one passage of play. This time, Pawn, you'll notice, has the heal, and that allows him to stay in the fight a lot longer. Score almost got ultra punished for going for a greedy second kill. Would almost certainly have been just a bit of damage, maybe a trade of summoners with Lava. But the counter rotation came out. Mana doesn't have Boots' mobility to answer. Here's the replay. Going for heal against a Sejuani is risky, but having the heal, he did not get one rotation. That ended up being very big for Pawn. He doesn't die, but Score does finish the kill. The auto attack follows through the flash. Awkward for SeongHwan. Your first thought is going to be an answering kill onto Score when the Ignite goes down, but still has the W. The rotation comes through from Mada, so it does end up being a kill, largely because Pawn, with the heal, lives longer than expected against Lava and SeongHwan.
Definitely an unfortunate series of events for the ROX Tigers, who thought they could pick up a easy kill onto Pawn. Did not have the cleanse, as you mentioned, so it's going to be just one kill going over to actually Score in the jungle on the Jarvan.
Very early Cinder Hulk, which will allow him to be a bit more brazen with the turret dives. Also allows him to start up the Drake, takes almost no damage from it, but Ocean is, of course, the most difficult to take in the early game. Somehow we're rolling back what happened in game 1, and this time for KT Rolster on the red side.
There you go. Ocean Drake going to be first, but this time the Mountain Drake will be second.
We're watching top lane, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
But we've stopped now, thank God. Going to be just same build for both. Abyssal Mask Rush for Lindarang and Smeb. So I want to see Lava hit the side lanes. Again, ganking through mid lane was almost an opportunistic thing where they saw the cleanse wasn't opted in for. Scores back mid lane, but Key's going to face check him.
Lava actually flashing away from the Emperor's Divide there. And they decide not to go in anymore after getting the Summoner, especially with the presence of the supporter from the side of the ROX Tigers.
Attacking through mid lane is something we usually don't see with the Taliyah. Again, it's about hitting the side lane, and that's still a play that ROX Tigers want to set up. It's almost going to be traditional 2016 analysis where you put that deep ward behind the red side turret down bot lane, you threaten a teleport with the Sion, the Weaver's Wall comes around, and taking an objective with the Satchel Charge is very much the game plan that ROX have set up for. Ended up baiting themselves with the play in the mid lane. Not seeing the cleanse, but the heal just keeping the Azir alive. Now we're seeing ROX once again fully stack on the mid lane.
And a ping went down. There's that really clever ward just over the wall below Key. That scouts everybody out, and Pawn is trying to beat this hardcore. It's gonna miss, and they're looking to turn this one around. The nice lantern, but SeongHwan might be in a little bit of trouble. Passive saves him for now. Now Pawn's taking damage, and they turn it around again. Somehow, some way. Now we got the TP coming in from Smeb this time, looking for another pick. The missed flag and drag, but now Score trying to get in there. Looks like they're trying to get on top of SeongHwan, who does get down, and Lava now with very, very low health. Looks like ROX committing a little bit too far to this one, especially now with Deft. Gonna rotate in from the bottom side. Lindarang gonna flash away and survive.
The classic who baited who was what was happening during that fight. We started with a 1-kill lead to KT, then it goes 2 for 2 in this trade. Pandemonium on the Rift. Pawn definitely had the early information, looked for the outplay, but then was flayed back and died at the start awkwardly. His summoners still available, his heal still available at the end. Was a really nice move from Pawn, but he had the extra information to be ready for it. He walks up, but then actually gets hooked and flayed into the box and dies to one round, one-threaded volley round from Lava. Bot lane doesn't want to react here. Is in the minimap.
Mata's in a lot of trouble. He's trying to taunt away here. Can he actually go in? The flash is happening, but it's one hit away. Mata does get out of there, has to burn his flash.
Yeah, Sangyoon seemed to misunderstand his damage range. It looked like he still thought the satchel was on to get the kill, but ends up using his flash. He really wanted the red buff, of course, that Mata was holding. But damage calculation off now. Suddenly, extra summoner burn on the side of ROX to answer deaths who had been used in the previous fight. All action in the past 3 or 4 minutes. ROX Tigers still pushing in mid.
Lava feeling a lot more comfortable now that he's past that stage where the harass from Azir is super annoying.
My read on the game, when you have a Moby Boots Thresh and a Taliyah, you want it to be pandemonium. You want there to be lots of plays around the map, lots of catches happening because you have the greater mobility. SeongHwan's going to be in the mid lane.
Pawn is going to get jumped on. There's just no hope. No vision over there of SeongHwan, and they set it up again.
Another 2 seconds and Score would have gone into the brush next to Red and seen the Sejuani. Wasn't there. The heal gets no value. That was the turnaround the first time. We're going to see an extended replay here. This was super aggressive by the side of KT, but then Sangyoon just kills Deft. We missed that in all of this. Was after the replay. Just assassinated him on the Tristana.
Yeah, so that was the beginning of the multicam, and now we got some more action as Lava's coming bottom lane. Deft once again is going to go down here. Good roam from Lava.
And this is what we were waiting for them to do. The plays around bot side, even more aggressive than expected because Deft summoners were still down from all of this. This should lead to a lot of turret damage coming through on the bot side for the side of ROX Tigers to unleash them on the map. If you get first turret as Tristana in this game with a 3-1 Taliyah and a Moby Boots Thresh, no one is safe. And Pawn going for the heal helped him on the first gang, will probably count against him in all the future ones.
We'll see what he can do as Sangyoon and Ki making their way down here. You can see that turret's getting very, very low. Even gonna come in as they're threatening Mata here.
They want the turret on this. They might be able to get it. They can greed for it.
Looks like they should be able to. One last auto attack. Deft was gone for too long as just a couple of kills is all you need to take down that bottom turret.
Remember all of this stuff in the bot lane. The passage of play was started by a taunt flash from Mata. There was a call from the duo to go aggressive, but they've been punished in ways they could clearly not have seen coming a few minutes ago. It was the opening for Lava to make the play bot side, knowing summoners were down on Deft. The turret goes down now as well. So many options for the side of ROX Tigers, and they will have first rotation in basically every lane. They have Sion ultimate, they have Taliyah ultimate, and they have a Moby Boots Thresh. So it's very difficult for KT to outnumber them on the Rift.
This is about the 6th time that Ki has been in the mid lane. This time it makes a lot more sense because the bottom turret has been broken here. Sure, he'll be showing his face down here in the mid lane a lot more. But this time Smeb is actually going to walk his way down into the mid lane.
I just love how we have to keep zooming out because someone is always flanking all of the flankers. It's like who watched the Watchmen is happening here in terms of flankers because everyone is looking to play make. Smeb.
We got Lindarang. Maybe he's going to make his way down. We'll see. But they're going to actually turn on this. Ki getting way too close. And a similar situation, but here comes Sion. They're looking to get that burst damage. Nice block from Pawn. The seismic shove is way too much, and the damage is coming out from that fed Taliyah and Sangyoon in the ground. And now they're going as deep as possible, trying to pick up as many kills, but they're going to pick up 2 and go for some objectives.
And Sangyoon got that super late, but the seismic shove was on point. When you get 2 kills, that means a turret kill. This turret destruction comp from ROX Tigers is getting everything at once and more.
It's so fun to watch these Taliyahs. It's like these hidden Taliyah masters in LCK. Finally, they're like, oh, she's meta again. Now I can play her. Even Lava coming in and saying, hey, I can play her too. And proving some stuff on the Rift tonight with another fantastic play.
I mean, we have secret Taliyah mains as well. Yukal, the sub mid laner for KT, is known as a Taliyah one trick. getting his way to rank 1 in Challenger. Lava, before he was actually a competitive mid laner, when he was training to become the mid laner for ROX Tigers, was also a Taliyah one-trick. We're going to watch the replay here. KT thought, okay, we'll be more decisive and it'll work out.
Look at this.
But here comes the choo-choo train. It rolls in. It finds the station. The station reads roller coaster. And the seismic shove onto Score and Pawn. Pawn's life this game with no cleanse has been just a nightmare. And KT are lucky that Sangyoon wasn't there from the start. Otherwise, it would have been 2, 3, 4, 5 kills for them. It only ends up being the 2, but the turret going down is another big point.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Score actually, the tip of his foot walked into that seismic shove and got him killed in the end of it all. Could have been just 1 kill had he gotten out of there, but it's a game of inches sometimes, and we saw it there.
The way I look at stuff like that, though, is it's kind of the same as the hand in the cookie jar, right? He doesn't need to be as far advanced. They're making a lot of plays here, KT, trying to fight back for control of the game early when I feel like the enemy is at its strongest. Speaking of at your strongest, feels like the banner of command meta for Sions. We saw it in the LPL recently. We saw it in the first series here. Seeing it again for the Sion. Cho'Gath can feast it, but apart from that, is magic damage clear, which comes through from the Vorpal spikes. Going to be frustrated by the banner of command.
Yeah, we'll see its first use once a cannon wave makes its way down. We've had 11 kills in 19 minutes. Doesn't feel real that we're on 8.3 right now, but it's what I expected from these two teams when they clash.
I mean, KT Rolster and ROX really are two of the few teams we have here that react to aggression with aggression. KT is always like, you're doing this to us, huh?
Yeah.
And they go for fights they shouldn't, too brazen at times.
And they're opportunistic too, just like this. They're looking for another play. They know there's no cleanse again. He's just gonna die. There's nothing he can do. There's no vision to spot him, and he gets taken out.
And Thresh is gonna be the first one to be on the scene anyway to provide support. So what is Pawn doing? Pushed up. It's basically zombie pushing at this point. He's had 4 times in 19 minutes. Crazy pace for an LCK game. They're playing into ROX's hands. What did we say in the champ select? It's all about the Sion in the side and the 4 members pushing down objectives. It's even easier when you're donating objectives. This is some great charity from KT Rolster.
That it definitely is, making it look like ROX are the superior team in this series so far. As I said before, opportunistic. If you're going to give them a chance, ROX will say, thank you very much. We're going to go for it. We're not scared. We're not going to play passive. And so they will move on in the lead here as the Baron does spawn at 20.
Well, 4 members are going to be deleted by 1 seismic shove rotation from the Taliyah, and Cho'Gath's not going to be there with the 4v4s, so there's a lot of problems right now for the side of KT. 5 kills already. Leandri's already halfway through his next item is the Taliyah, insanely far ahead. Sangyoon has been a passenger this game, only 1-0-1, but of course, his items are coming together. Almost has the rapid fire cannon, 3-item power spike. Makes him both be able to poke and take down the turrets in the siege. Whereas KT, they've had to go Trinity Force on Ezreal. They're so far behind on the Azir that sending Azir to a side lane, something you only ever do on an emergency, is their foremost game plan, because he can't play in the mid lane with no turret.
You mentioned that next item for Lava. The Fiendish Codex, probably going to be the Banshee Veil, but I'll hold off on that just a bit as Smeb is in trouble. 3 members, and oh boy, not again! That's 0-5 now for our boy Pawn. Trying to get on top of key as Smeb, he wants that feast. Looks like it may happen, but not going to happen. Last second feast onto Lindarang as 2 more kills to the side of ROX.
It feels like game 2 of KT ROX in the first round, Robin, where they got donation after donation. They're getting successful ganks off in 2 lanes at the same time. 5 people ganking, apparently, for the side of ROX Tigers. They're going to push up with that banner of command minion. It's going to be another turret rolling down. And KT, more than 1 foot in the grave.
It's like Taliyah and Sejuani before the game. They're like, oh, it's like a solo queue game. The mid laner forgot to take cleanse against us. Well, I guess we'll just follow him around the map and make his life hell. We've seen this so many times, not so much in a professional game. And you have to question, you know, what's going on?
I mean, it's very easy to be results-oriented and say it holds no value. If you try to uncouple what Pawn was trying to do, he took heal, he got the outplay on the first gank, and then he said, okay, I'm going to farm, get National's Tooth, Banshee, I'll be fine. The problem is, they opted into too many fights before the Banshee came, but he still doesn't have Banshee at 22 minutes in the game. He doesn't have Cleanse, so he can't side lane to get the Banshee. And this is the biggest punishment for a risk that Pawn took. Now, would I have gone without a Cleanse? No. He rolled the dice, but then the game plan has been to basically force themselves into fights before they're ready to take them, and now he just looks comical, so far behind.
Yeah, I mean, there's other ways to get out of the combination too. You can flash, you can try to Shurima shuffle if you're quick enough, right? All these things, but as you mentioned, it's kind of just the way the game has gone so far. Definitely looks very unfortunate. Notice that a needlessly large rod was picked up by Lava. He's like, who needs defensive items at this point?
Again, he's one rotationing. 4 out of 5 members on the side of KT Rolster, so why not a bit more wave clear with the needlessly large rod? Working towards a Death Cap and a Banshee Veil.
Oh, good read here by SeongHwan, catching them in the jungle, but maybe he was just a little bit ahead of his time as the rest of his team not quite in position.
Everyone on ROX has the skirmishing advantage. Thresh hates 5v5 team fights because he hooks someone, goes in and dies. We're not going to get 5v5s. They're pushing up, trying to control every brush on the map. With Pick CC on their jungler and support, the fallback Baron is getting more and more likely as time goes on.
Yeah, Taliyah not the worst Baron taker.
Not the best either.
Yeah, I'd say she's like middle of the pack. Get a decent amount of consistency, CC, but runs out eventually. Well, they're trying to make a play here around the red.
Trying to release it, at least. KT were able to do that.
Yeah. They're just sitting here waiting for someone to bite the bait. You'll notice that Smeb now is walking up towards mid. They're going to see him the whole way. See what they try to do to fight back in this one. Down about 5.5 thousand gold.
Literally, the way you win this for ROX Tigers is SeongHwan escorts the Tristana to a turret. If you need to, use the weave as well. If you don't, you just take the turret. Force, no options to be available for KT now that you have 3 items onto the Tristana, the core of the Infinity Edge, Static Shift, and the Rapid Fire Cannon. And you have Thresh patrol for a pick in the meantime. So very clear is the game plan from ROX. And all KT can do is run away. No playmaking going to happen with the Shen. They're going to try and fall back to the Baron. Let's see when KT get the memo.
Someone's on duty of keeping everyone else out. This 2-shot barrage is way early, but now they know it's happening.
They're committing to the Baron.
Can they collapse is really the question. Key is getting low. The taunt here onto SeongHwan. This is looking very messy at this point. The TP coming in. They want to commit to it, but it's going to go over to the ROX Tigers. The smite going over to SeongHwan. Even amongst the sloppiness, they get the objective, and they stay ahead in this game.
KT should have got it there. They had Feast in the pit, but they weren't able to take it down. I thought ROX had leashed it too low, 1900 health as the teleport came in, but still SeongHwan picks up the Baron. The only lifeline that KT has been granted in 25 minutes, and sadly for them, they can't claim it.
Sad state of affairs as they figure it out early enough, but they can't execute when it matters most. As you mentioned, that was their one chance, and now we'll see what they can do. Down 8,000 gold and a 3-minute Baron buff, probably leading to even more. Luden's Echo finished on Lava. You don't see that much in 8.3.
See it a lot on patch 8.4, though.
Yeah.
Bit of a preview, a spoiler for the next patch.
If you get enough gold, you're like, well, I might as well buy this.
That one rotation, it's not quite extending to the Cho'Gath. It's getting closer, Valdez, with how powerful the Lava is on the Taliyah. I think we know who our MVPs will be if ROX Tigers win 2-0. They continue to push up. Now it's even easier for them to play the map. Both Tristana and the Taliyah are going to be turret destroyers. And Sion's going to chill.
Okay. He's just going to protect that Banner of Commanded minion. Not scared of the Cho'Gath when he's this position.
Again, consider that the Sion is uniquely strong in the banner battle because he has ranged AD wave clear. His Q does physical damage, so he's actually much stronger. And if you go for a counter banner of command, you will eventually lose out faster.
Well, what you said, Papa, is, well, okay. Deft losing half his health, and it wasn't even Zoe. But yeah, this is basically what they wanted to do.
Yep.
Set up the 1-3-1. Taliyah's always ready for the Weaver's Wall. Speaking of which, right on time, coming on through, looking for this mid-tier, or rather inhibitor turret and the inhibitor. Let's see if they commit to that one.
They'll pull back. They have to go through another turret. The Sun turret will come down, but yeah. You started as a 1-3-1 because you have the Baron on the Taliyah. Don't even have to start it as a 4-1. And then Taliyah Weaver's Wall over. Got the inhibitor turret you were craving. The base spin broken on the first Baron, which is the gold standard for that. They'll return to it, and KT don't have any options. They don't have enough items on the Azir to delay. If Shen goes in, they won't have a ultimate because he will die instantly. Both Sangyoon and Lava are supremely farmed and fed, respectively. And Smeb in the side lane, what is a man to do against a Cho'Gath?
And I said it before after game 1, but I'll say it again. To be a KT fan for the series, it's not a fun time. They're looking like they're not having a good time in this one. Game 1 was hard. Game 2 looks even harder. And now they're pushing in to the bottom tier, or rather inhibitor turret, looking for another seismic shove. Everybody just tail between their legs going back. We might see this game end soon, Papa.
I mean, we're requesting on it, there's no good options left for KT. The emergency plays, unless 3 people are being pushed into the next, into the fountain by the Shurima Shuffle. Probably not going to find a lot of value. There's another Weaver's Wall.
Command is coming in. Oh boy, everybody's trapped. Even Pawn forcing himself. They want to make a stand here, but the ult is going to hit the back line, and that's going to be enough. Everybody's going to go down. A double kill. Even more going over to Lava. And we get the hook onto Pawn to make his life even harder. Are they going to go for the end here? Lava's getting low. The Ignite is ticking. No Quadra. Lava doesn't die, though. That's going to be game number 2. Deft trying to make a stand, but he cannot do it here, Papa.
ROX Tigers smash the enemy team. Now with Taliyah dying, it might slow things down, but I think the game's over.
Looks like it is. It doesn't even matter. He did his job in this one. Sorry for KT, but ROX, they showed up to play today. They're looking for the final kill. The ace comes in, and a 2-0 victory for ROX Tigers.
Crowd does all the talking for them. What a performance by ROX Tigers. They decimate KT Rolster. It was a dumpstering, honestly. ROX Tigers so close to being top 5, but always you would look at their players and say, surely they're not better than KT, KSV, Afrika, SK Telecom. The answer is they're right in the thick of it with them. This was the performance you needed to actually rank them appropriately at 2-0. Not a close series at all. And suddenly, you're less confident about KT, and you think the ROX Tigers could actually break top 5.
It's as I said after their series with KSV. It wasn't, as you mentioned, like this hard-fought series and, you know, KSV making a ton of mistakes or KT making a ton of mistakes. It was ROX Tigers outplaying them, playing better League of Legends in your face and making it work.
Now, KT made mistakes. You made multiple mistakes in this game. You could even point to the summoner spell choice by their mid laner. But you're right, the enemy team profited to the maximum. So a lot of people in the post-game thread, in the conversation about this game, will focus on KT. KT had the higher preseason expectations. They need to be under the microscope, but people should also focus on the fact that you cannot count ROX Tigers out against any opposition. And if they can show up this way against 2 other of the top 5 expected teams, suddenly you wonder what sort of playoff run they'll be able to make, because they're getting closer and closer to securing that.
The huge dark horse becomes a little bit brighter here as we get this very massive win over KT.
It was an awesome draft by them. I love the Taliyah Tristana. I love the fact that I could sit there and say, this is what the comp does, and they did it. They went out there, KT played into it. That's the mistakes they made, but ROX Tigers made the most of a strong draft. A Tristana draft in the LCK that we could all love and get behind. And now ROX Tigers, excited to see who their next matchup is this week, because there aren't many teams on the Rift that you'd eye as ROX Tigers and not feel comfortable at least forcing 3 games against.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. They're definitely making a statement here that we came to play in 2018. Definitely looking like a team to keep an eye on here. Let's take a look at the game result. Under 30 minutes in this one, and it was a very rapid advance up towards 15,000 gold ahead.
And it never felt like KT would ever get back into it. The moment that ROX Tigers got the first 2 charges of the game, I was already in my head counting them out because there really wasn't a lot of counterplay when there was such low gold values. The clock reads 45 minutes, anything's possible, right? But the clock looked like it would be over pre-35, and it's even pre-30. This is even better than I could have expected by ROX Tigers. We're learning what sort of comps work with the Sion and what sort of comps don't. We will certainly see plenty more of the Sion. Seeing some of the KT players walk off, obviously, with sullen faces right now. You talked about always celebrating those milestones. The birthday for Mata, one he'd prefer to forget.
Definitely true. I kind of cursed the way 2018 was going. It was a bunch of fantastic players getting cheered on by their teammates during the anniversary and having fantastic performances. Not the case today, although it wasn't exactly Mata's fault. He didn't have the worst game of all time in these ones, but as you mentioned, definitely something to forget.
I mean, it's very easy to point a finger and say it was Pawn's fault, and Pawn made multiple mistakes this game, but this series was not his fault.
It's a team
They made
effort.
bad invades in game 1. Pawn made some mistakes in game 2. Their bot lane over-invested in engage against Taliyah, and then gave up multiple kills again and again. The Ezreal died in a 2v2, then a 2v3 against a global. To me, it was undisciplined. I'd look at this game and say that KT were undisciplined about it. They played it like a scrim. That's how it seemed to play out in front of our eyes. Whereas ROX Tigers, they were the ones more polished. They were the ones more up for the challenge, and they deserved the win. You play this game out again and again, ROX Tigers win every time.
That they do, and I don't think we really need to think about who the MVP is going to be from this one. I mean, Lava had an outstanding performance on the Taliyah.
Have an MVP, Lava. You deserve it.
Okay, it's not going to be him. I don't understand this.
Okay.
Again, we don't have a say in the Spo TV MVPs. This doesn't make any sense for me. I mean, he was there every time, sure. He did make the plays happen to allow this Taliyah to get ahead, but really just the map presence overall. We are going to be hearing from someone, though. Interestingly enough, it's only his second MVP.
A lot of good players this game. I think Lava deserved it, but everyone else on ROX knew the game plan, knew how to win. They pulled off the aggressive invades that Score on the Sejuani in game 1 couldn't. Around the enemy side, they tried to dictate the side of KT Rolster. KT folded like a pack of cards, so congratulations, SeongHwan. And once again, congratulations, ROX Tigers.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the interview, as Spo TV interviews are always a bucket of fun.
We can always pull Lava in.
They're always getting better. I know, they're going to be like, well, you had a good game too. Yeah, why don't you come on? Oh, let's get the whole team. Team effort, right? Either way, guys, we are going to head over to the interview. Let's hear from Jisun for the translation.
됐는데요. 오늘을 승리로 이끈 라바 선수 그리고 성환 선수의 인터뷰가 기다리고 있습니다. 함께 만나보시죠.
Picking up 2-0 victory against KT Rolster. It was a really quick game from ROX Tigers. So let's hear from SeongHwan and Lava. Congratulations. So it was a great performance of you guys.
오늘 경기 전부터 사실상 그 라바 선수에 대한 집중들이 많이 이루어지고 있었잖아요.
And a lot of people were expecting a lot from you, Lava. But KT Rolster is also a very strong opponent. How was today's match? I think we were all feeling okay, so I knew that we could win if we are in good conditions.
사실 그 1세트에서는 뭐 라바 선수가 인상 깊은 장면을 많이 보여줬지만 나머지 선수도 굉장히 잘했잖아요.
But I think each members performed so well. So who did you expect for the MVP? I think in the first game, I think except for me, everyone did their work. So did you make any mistakes in the first one? Well, actually I didn't, but I think all the other players were better than me. So you on Zoe was amazing.
초반 출발가 조이가 3연패 이후에 그다음부터 지금 4연승이에요, 조이나. 그러니까 분명히 뭔가 눈을 뜨는 계기라든지 연습하는 과정들이 좀
So how did you practice Zoe especially? Well, I did lose 3 games in a row on Zoe, so I tried to spectate other players using it and practice on the solo queue. So yeah, finally I think I became a little bit good with it. I especially looked up for FLICKR's and BDD's Zoe plays. I think they're good in the laning phase with Zoe, so I learned a lot from them.
Then
do you have any special tricks on using Zoe?
아 그래서 그런지 아주 뭐 좋은
Yeah, I think I
장면이
got some
많이
skills on her,
나왔는데
so
송환 선수는
yeah, I
어땠어요?
think
송환 선수
I'm
같은
doing
경우는
well.
2세트 장면들도 있었습니다만 1세트에서 팀 간의 뭐 콜도 굉장히 잘 나왔었고 거의
So then SeongHwan, how was the first set?
어땠어요 1세트?
1세트는 저는 그냥 버스 타가지고 1세트
Well, the first set I got carried, so I have nothing to say.
본인이 머릿속에 남았었던 명장면이 있다면 뭐가 있었어요?
Is there any highlights that you want to mention?
미드 그 전령 쓰고 그 미드 타워 부수고 바로 다이브 했을 때
I think when we took down the mid turret
장면이 진짜 많이
and we opened the team fight, I think that was the highlights of the game.
맞아요.
맞아.
그럼 라마 선수가 생각할 때는 무슨 장면이 굉장히 명장면?
And what about you, Lava? What was the highlight of your game?
1세트
The first set.
너무 많아요?
1세트인데 좀 많아서 다 비슷한 것 같아요. 딱히
I can't really pick one
그 중에
because there were so many. Then let's check out the clip.
요거 어때요? 요거.
아 이때는 근데 형들이 너무 피를 다 잘 빼넣어줘.
Well, actually, all the other players already made the opponents in low health, so yeah, I was just lucky to get the kills.
얼마 남지 않은 체력이었는데
좋았어요.
네. 본인이 보지만 비명이 날 만큼 좋았어요.
네, 너무 좋았어요.
네.
So I'm really satisfied with that play.
다른 위기 없이 경기를 굉장히 잘 이끌면서 경기를 마감졌던 라바 선수의 장면이 있었습니다. 2세트로 좀 돌아가 볼까요?
And
송환
moving
선수는
on to the
1세트 좀
second game.
아쉽다는 말을 좀 했었습니다만 2세트의 그 지휘하는 그 과정들은
You
정말
really did dominate the game too.
어떻습니까 2세트?
How was it?
상대 폰 선수가 그 스펠을 정화를 안 들고 힐을
Well, I saw Pawn not picking the cleanse
공격했었거든요.
summoner spell, so I tried to camp in the mid lane. I think it worked out really well.
태훈이랑 연계하면은 한 방에 죽일 수 있는 딜도 나오고.
I did a lot of engagement with Lava, and I think
근데 초반
I got great results from it.
말씀해 주신 것만큼 그렇게 편하게 풀지는 않았었잖아요.
네.
계기가 됐던 순간이 있다면 어떤 순간이 있었을까요?
Then,
아무래도
what was the best moment overall?
트래시도 막 같이 도와주면서 싸웠을 때 그럴 때
Well, even Key helped us to open team fight, so I think that was the best part of the game too.
사실 스레시 탈리아 동식 이용해가지고 경기 풀어가는 과정들이 쉽지만은 않았을 것 같거든요. 그때 뭐 어떤 내용들이 좀 오고 왔어요?
And what about the team comp in Taliyah and also Thresh?
처음 미드 싸움에서 약간 좀 저희가 패배해서 이제 쉔궁만
Well, we did lose out in the first mid lane fight, but
까지 붙여서
we just planned on bringing even Thresh in the mid lane so we can make 2-3 team fight.
네, 계속 붙이면서 분위기가 좀 좋았으니까 송환 선수도 이거 좀 동의하는 느낌이 있는 거예요.
네. 이제 쉔궁만 날라오면은 저희가 3대1
Yeah, so it might be a loss if we fight without our Thresh because Shen can come with his ultimate. So I thought, yeah, we should also call our supporters in the mid lane.
스레시가 등장할 때마다 좋은 분위기도 굉장히 많이 나왔었는데 어떻습니까? 사실 우리는 또 시청자 질문을 또 받습니다.
So we have a question from your fan.
질문 중에서 요즘 린다랑 선수의 따봉 포즈가
Recently,
화제가 되고 있다.
like Lindarang's picture with his thumbs up is so popular. What's your favorite one?
바로 이거죠.
Favorite poster for the picture?
네, 바로 이 장면.
막 밀어내는데.
그때 MVP 2명을 밀어내는 강력한 요 장면, 요 사진이 진짜
So,
많이 쓰이고 있잖아요.
Lindarang is so popular with that picture. How do you feel?
따봉 V보다 따봉을
Well, I prefer V, thumbs up instead of V, but I'm just surprised that it got so popular.
똑같아요.
약간 매크로 3번 되는 것 같아요.
네, 매크로 3번 본인 따봉만이 가지고 있는 특이점이 있다면 뭐가 있을까요?
What's the great point of about your poster with your thumbs up?
따봉 딱 하면
Well, you gotta tilt it a little bit in the left.
사실
And you can be just look just like me.
두 선수도 나도 좀 이 포즈는 하고 있는데
Is there any
사실은 안
special
보여줬다든가,
pose that you wanna
혹시
show to your
나는 밀고 있는
fans?
포즈가 있는데 왜 이거는 몰라주지라는 게 있다면 혹시 뭐가 있을까요? 성환 선수?
딱히 없는데
Nothing
저는
special. I just take pictures with my V's,
V?
네, 저희는 V.
smiling on the camera.
V.
무난하게.
일단 무난하게. 사실 근데 이거 무난한 것보다 뭐 린다랑 선수의 이런 컬러감만큼이나 성환 선수가 워낙 뛰어난 개인기를 가지고 있다고 좀 소문이 나가지고 제가 알기로는
Moving on.
플레임으로 언급해도 되는지 모르겠는데
I heard that SeongHwan is performing really well,
캐릭터
and a lot of people have said that you look like a character in the animation in
이거를
called Doraemon. So
저희는 그냥 시키잖아요. 저희는 그냥 시키잖아요.
Can you show us
왜냐면 선수가
some of his
무언가를
lines,
만드니까.
maybe?
그래서 두 가지를 준비했습니다. 먼저 우리 그 작가 진두들 중에서 육시남과
So,
미나를 교묘하게 섞어서
we have one person from our staff who she is also good at mimicking Doraemon. So
먼저부터 이게
first
약간
turn goes to her.
배틀 정도로 한번 해보도록 할까요? 하나, 둘, 셋. 이렇게. 가도 돼. 오케이, 잘했어. 자, 그러면
Then it's someone's turn.
좀 제가 더 똑같았던 것 같아요.
I think my impression was better.
상품을 받았습니다.
So we got a present for you.
네. 너무 많이 나면 안 되니까. 오늘도 멋지게 성대모사.
Thank you for your great imitation.
기원했던 성환 선수에게 저희가 소정의 상품을 드리도록 하겠습니다. 자, 락스 타이거즈.
And this is a gift for reward.
숫자 자체를 떠나서 경기력 자체가 이렇게 흥미로운 모습들을 굉장히 많이 보여줬습니다. 그러니까 세 명의 선수가 나온 김에 2라운드의 이 경기력 워낙 좀 뛰어났잖아요. 지금 시작
You guys are performing great in the second round robin.
세 선수 모두 2라운드를 기다리시는 많은 팬 여러분께
Last words for your fans.
따봉자부터
2라운드도
말해요.
Speak up.
2라운드도 앞으로 오늘 KT 잡은 경기력으로
Just like we got a victory against KT Rolster, I'm gonna make sure that we're gonna win all the games and put our thumbs up.
라바 선수.
일단 저희 이렇게 잘할 수 있게 만들어준 감독 코치님이랑
Thank you for our coaching staff for making us so improved overall.
열심히 준비해서
And we're gonna prepare hard for our upcoming games.
좋았습니다. 그리고 오늘 스포티비 작가를 아주 처참하게 이겼던 성환 선수는요.
네, 1라운드 성적도 나쁘진 않았는데
Well,
더 좋은
our
성적을 좀
results in the first round robin was that bad, but we're gonna make it better in the second round robin. Thank you.
이게 분명히 결과를 좀 돌려받고 있으니까 앞으로도 멋진 장면 기대.
So we'll be looking forward for a great performance from ROX Tigers.
오늘 멋진 경기를 펼친 세 명의
And
선수에게
this will be the end of the interview, and I'll hand it over back to you guys.
Thank you, Ji-san, for the translation. These interviews just get better and better, Papa. I don't even know what's going on.
How do they
a lot
keep
of fun.
having fresh memes?
I know.
They're going to run out eventually, right? Right?
They just try newer stuff every single time. I don't get it. It's cool.
There has to be multiple people on staff who just watch streams and get all the
they
latest
just
memes.
make ideas and bring it out on the interviews.
Like usually we only get snippets of Korean memes from translated interviews, but we're getting like the IV memes from Korea straight into the veins from Spo TV. So thank you very much for that. As this second game was, it was really sloppy by KT.
Oh, yeah.
They opted into a lot of things, like for example, Ezreal getting assassinated for some reason in the bot lane. We saw 3 people gank bot and 2 people gank top, and both ganks worked. So 5 people are ganking. I don't know what the members of KT Rolster are doing during that time. This was desperately poor from them, from a team that could have gone equal first. They don't deserve to be equal first. They will now fall even further game score behind, and even though Lava didn't pick up the MVP for game 2, we still got to speak to him thanks to game 1.
Yeah.
He was majestic on the Taliyah.
It's almost like they gave it over to SeongHwan just to make their interview even better. We're going to take another look. Even SeongHwan said in the interview, he's like, well, he didn't take cleanse, so I figured I'd just camp him. Like, it's very straightforward, even from a pro gamer's point of view, as he said on the interview. So definitely something for players to think about in the future. This was basically the result. At the end of it all, another double kill going over to Lava, as definitely a very inspirational Taliyah performance tonight.
Again, Cloud Templar and I both ranked the teams. Both of us had Kongnu Monster and ROX as the no-hoper last teams. And ROX Tigers, with no roster changes, no big names, except for a big name they're not playing, are insanely better than anyone could have expected. Well-deserved, less than 1 hour of game time to smash KT Rolster and put themselves right up near the top.
Yeah, even Spo TV's in on it. At the top, literally, it means the cleanliness of ROX Tigers. It was about as clean as it gets. It was a stomp, Papa Smithy. There was no way for us to sugarcoat it. It didn't look like KT Rolster in the booth, and it looked like a super powered up ROX Tigers in the booth. So very exciting stuff. Very happy I got to cast that. We're going to take a look at the standings. ROX Tigers, 1 indicator point behind KSV, and KT Rolster are now officially behind Kingzone.
And if you ask me the question, how many teams are better than ROX Tigers? I don't know what number I'd give you, Valdez. Maybe 3, maybe 2. Is SK Telecom better than ROX Tigers? Just the one below them. FLICKR Freaks and Kingzone, probably, maybe. I'm not even 100% sure about both those two teams. ROX Tigers, again, so much better than expected. They only have the rest of the season, they've got the 7 best-of-3s to go. If they continue on their pace, if they hit 10 wins, they make playoffs.
That they do. They're looking slated to get into it, and that leaves the question, well, who's not getting in? Is KSV going to continue on their slump? What happens to KT Rolster? Do SK Telecom get in? What about the Jin Air Green Wings? Seems like BBQ, MVP, and Kongdu are kind of down towards the bottom, kind of the now no-hopers, as you put them. So,
I mean,
it's going to be interesting.
It feels like right now, KSV are our 6th best team in Korea. The world champions may not make it to the postseason, Valdez, with no changes in roster. Just utter insanity. We'll be back with Spo TV on Sunday, but tomorrow's games, Jin Air BBQ, Kingzone MVP. MVP coming off another match win, but Kingzone Dragon X looking to load up and stack on the wins. They're looking to go outright first after KT tripped up trying to go first today.
And the big matchup, you mentioned it earlier, FLICKR versus SKT. So many questions will be answered on that night. And then you look at ROX Tigers, their next opponent is BBQ. I think that should be a stomp as long as they show up the way they did tonight. But definitely allows them to build that confidence after this win against KT.
I mean, it's just a privilege to be front row. We've seen teams like Jin Air have one big result and then not be able to back it up. Feels like ROX Tigers are having many one-off results, and that usually means they're a better team than any one of us could have expected. They demolish KT Rolster. KT hopes way down. ROX hopes for at least playoffs way up.
Yeah. It seems like birthdays are cursed, at least today, because Crown's birthday is tomorrow. Mata's birthday was today. They both got crushed.
Yeah.
It wasn't close.
Yep.
They got smashed into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, find all the adjectives. They're all deserving. Spo TV deserves all the adjectives for those interviews. Bogus. Amazing. The memes never stop. But I'll see you again on Sunday, and this week, finally, we're starting to get the formation. There's only 3 weeks after this week. We're in the second half of the season, and still we feel no more comfortable to rank top 5. That's a good sign.
It definitely is. Spring is going to be a fun one. You know, who can you even predict to be in the finals at this point? Kingzone, maybe? Who else? Lots of question marks, lots of questions to be answered. But guys, the music has started, and that means that our show will now stop. And it's been a fun night. It's been a quick one. A couple of 2-0s. Thank you once again, Papa, for casting with me.
Pleasure.
And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
코앞으로 다가왔지만 찬바람이 기승을 부리고 있습니다. 2018 LCK 스프링 스플릿 더욱더 즐겁게 즐기시려면 건강관리에 꼭 유의하시기 바랍니다. 이어지는 상암 경기장에서의 LCK에도 많은 관심과 응원 부탁드리며 저희는 일요일 오후 4시 50분에 다시 인사드리겠습니다. 함께해 주신 여러분 고맙습니다.